Morning, y'all. Wanted to make a video here for you about rich coder versus poor coder. This is kind of from the idea of Robert Kiyosaki with Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And so that you know it's not bullshit, I've done about 100 to 200 onboarding calls, and I've also had a couple hundred calls with just discovery calls for people to help them market and grow their own businesses onto there. And from these calls, I've discerned a lot of info about rich people versus poor people in general. And what I hope to show here is the business principles of somebody who has a rich mindset and who has a poor mindset. And if you just have these ideas, honestly, you will beat 95% of coders out there. Many of these people don't even have $1,000 in their own bank account, but they're trying to run an entire business, which is just insanely wild to me. So let's just get into it for you. So we'll go over operations, sales, and marketing here for you in this whole entire video. So from an operations standpoint, the rich coders have SOPs in place for end of day, start of day, strong communication between their team members, and ideally their people are on performance pay so that they can always ensure that their margins are in check. Poor coders have no rhyme or reason really what they do. They don't have optimized trailer setups. They, order product as necessary, so they incur larger costs because of shipping. They don't ever bulk order anything. They don't actually they'll invest $60,000 to $80,000 in equipment, but they won't put any of that into marketing, which is like the dumbest thing in my opinion ever under the sun. What else would they do onto operations? They won't have any kind of calendar system. They don't have any ability to remember any of their contacts at all. And as well, they don't have any, again, standard operating procedures for their guys of how the floor should be installed. So they have zero chance to ever grow into the future because they constantly have to get back onto the work every time something needs to be done. If they have a new employee, that new employee has to learn under them because they have such an ego about how it needs to be done. Oh, nobody's as good as me. They have all these mental frames that keep them broke AF, unfortunately. On to the next one here for sales. Rich coders have some system in place. Poor coders, they wing it. They don't care about the body language, the word tracks, their appearance, professionalism. They have an off-putting attitude. They have no scheduling so that the customers know when they're going to actually show up. They don't do any texts before they show up. They don't share samples. They have no portfolio website. They don't do any follow-ups onto the estimates if they don't close them. They blame it onto the customer instead of ever actually taking a second to actually think about if they're doing what they're doing is actually correct. And as well, they have no system in place to follow up with any of their leads over time so that they can see them inside of a pipeline. They quite literally either use paper and pen to be able to manage their people, or they just don't do anything at all. If they don't get the estimate, they just walk away. They don't think about follow-up. They don't think about trying to maximize the return on any of the leads that they get. And then they get stuck onto that because they have no reliable system to actually build a sales pipeline to manage that pipeline so that they can put as many people through, or have, I have probably 4,800 contacts that I could just text in a second through a system very easily if I need any more work or I'm not as busy as I'd like to, or as well just to remember all of the contacts that I've had, the text messages, the phone calls, no phone call recording, nothing at all. It's just absolutely just still winging it, no systems whatsoever in place, and then they just get by onto that. And then finally, for the marketing, rich versus poor. The poor have no reliable way to acquire customers. They rely on Angie, Thumbtack, Home Advisor, and here and there referrals to be able to get their jobs, and that's as much as they do. There's no acquisition funnel. They don't use Google ads. They don't use Facebook ads. It's too expensive. But again, as I said before, they'll spend $60,000 to $80,000 on new equipment, but they have no way to generate the jobs because, again, their ego is so tied up in, oh man, I need to have the best equipment. I need to have the best equipment. If I don't have the best equipment, oh man. And then they just buy all this dumb shit that they don't need that messes up their margins. And then they don't have money to be able to invest into marketing to be able to grow a reliable system onto it. So I mean, really, if you just beat these people with this here, you'll be 95% better than everybody. Like I said before, it's pretty crazy that these jobs are like $2,000 to $3,000 a piece. Sometimes for 3-car garages, $6,000 onto it, and these people don't have $1,000 to spare to actually grow their entire business. But again, they have all of the money to be able to buy equipment that they don't need because they don't have the jobs to even do the work onto it. So hope you all find value in this. Be sure to like, subscribe to the video, and I hope you all have a great one. Peace. Let me know if you have any questions down below.